Next on Stampede.
Car break-ins.
Nothing's really been done. All they've said is just lock your cars.
Students are asking for security cameras after a series of thefts in the Emmanuel Village. Details are coming up.
Plus, after delays and low participation, we have a recap of Airband.
And find out why Campus Activities doesn't plan to continue Sweetheart Convo.
The Rocket Club now has fuel to begin work.
The swim team has seen a lot of success recently, a Player of the Year and Coach of the Year. We'll sit down with both.
And later, we'll take you to a play that's raising money to bring a historic theater back to life, and Milligan students are involved.
These stories and more are coming up next.
StampedeTV begins now.
At least 3 car break-ins have happened at the Emmanuel Village in the past 2 months. This is StampedeTV. I'm Kayla Baker.
And I'm Noah Parker. Now one teenager is under arrest, but some students say more needs to be done.
Isaac Williams lost the music collection he had been working on for 2 years when his car was broken into while parked on campus.
They got my backpack with all my textbooks and notebooks from class and my MacBook Pro.
Since January 1st, at least 3 car break-ins were reported to police. Laptops, wallets, and even a drum were stolen. Williams says he had always felt safe.
Some people were just dumb, and myself included, and just didn't lock my car.
Resident Director Kevin Hurley says he found 2 teenagers last week wandering around the Emmanuel Village. When he approached them, he says he caught them going through a student's car.
I was able to corner the individuals to begin asking them some questions, and then they confessed to taking items.
One of the teens is now under arrest. There is not yet enough evidence to charge the other. Hurley says the arrest brings relief and a sense of closure, but Williams wants action to prevent future break-ins.
We've been asking, like, can we get security cameras? Can we, like, get more security or something? But nothing's really been done. All they've said is just lock your cars.
Brent Nipper, Director of Property and Risk Management, says campus security has increased patrols in the area. He says he's considering security cameras, but a final decision has not been reached. He recommends keeping doors locked. Caleb Perney, Stampede TV.
Detective Joe Hara with the Elizabethton Police Department says a 15-year-old boy has been charged with 1 count of auto burglary. He was previously charged with 2 counts of auto burglary and vandalism. That was in connection to a separate incident a few weeks ago. Hara says the investigation is still ongoing. He doesn't yet have enough evidence to charge the teen for the other thefts or to charge the second teen. The Stampede's Nick Baylor will continue to follow this story. You can find his report in the next print edition of the Stampede, releasing Thursday.
The Rocket Club now has fuel to begin activities. We told you on our last broadcast that the club was struggling to get the chemicals they needed. Potassium nitrate is required to set off the rocket. The chemical is in-yard care products that are hard to get in the winter, and online retailers won't ship to a post office box. That problem has been solved. The chemical is packed inside the rocket with sugar and then lit for the explosion. Co-President Stephen Shake explains how the fuels react.
A mixture of potassium nitrate and sugar. Potassium nitrate oxidizes sugar, and within a chamber like that, it pressurizes insanely quick, and whenever it shoots out of that nozzle, it's going to shoot out at thrust up to 100 pounds.
The video you just saw was the first test run with the new fuel. The club plans to create new and improved fuels along with the metal rocket in the future.
Milligan's IJM is hosting a week focused on spreading awareness of human trafficking and modern-day slavery. The club hosted several events for Justice Week Thursday. They organized a prayer march and an hour of silence for victims of human trafficking. One of the most visible activities of the week is drawing red X's on people's hands. IJM leaders hope the X's will lead to more conversations about human injustice. IJM member Macy Foote says spreading awareness in our community is important.
Human trafficking is something that people generally think of as not being near them. It's something that's overseas and worlds away. At least that's what I thought at first before getting involved with IJM. I didn't realize how prevalent it was. And so it's so important that people are more aware that human trafficking isn't just something that is happening in other places, but it's happening right down the road from us.
IJM is planning more events for the rest of the semester. They're planning a movie screening and campus conversation in mid-March. After a 2-month delay, Airband kicked off Family Weekend.
The event had struggled to get enough participation, but the show went on.
Airband is an annual tradition where Milligan students dance and lip-sing to popular music on stage in the Gregory Theater. This year featured Kristen Branch in charge as air chair.
Since freshman year, we've always had a part of it, and it was just an honor to be able to be in charge of it.
It was definitely a challenge getting the new perception of being backstage all the time, in charge of all the bands. Maybe a little bit hectic, but overall a great experience.
Airband was originally scheduled in the fall semester for Res Life Week, when it usually occurs, but it was moved due to low participation. Jason Ox told StampedeTV in the fall that they were aiming for 6 to 7 bands, but the event continued this year with just 4 acts, 2 of which were solo performances.
We had done a lot of setup work and groundwork and trying to get the ideas of what this Airband was going to be like last semester, and whenever it was canceled, we were like, okay, we'll just file it away for next semester.
Kristen says the crew was pleased with audience turnout, which was lower than past years given that it was family weekend. The runner-up this year was the Rap Angels, returning from last year, and the group Spies at the Disco took first place for their performance mixing disco with espionage.
My team is really fun to work with. We had a great time, and I would definitely do it again.
Nick Joel Baylor, who performed a duet with himself, highly recommends students perform in future Airband events.
Just don't be afraid to go out and try something. Obviously, if you're going to go out there and dance with yourself, well then be cautious, but otherwise, go break a leg.
Noah Parker, Stampede TV. It's now been 2 years since the last Sweetheart Convo, and Campus Activities Director Jason Ox says he isn't bringing it back. Sweetheart Convo was a tradition where students voted for classmates to perform comedy skits during a convo around Valentine's Day. Snow caused scheduling problems and cancellations for the past few years. Last year, Ox said he wanted to move it later in the spring to avoid the snow, but a date couldn't be found for President Bill Greer to host it. Now 2 years after the last Sweetheart Convo, Ox says he sees less interest.
To elect representatives for each class 2 years ago was a little bit tougher than expected. People didn't necessarily volunteer as eagerly as they had in the past. And so we kind of just made the decision that, okay, let's just let that lay to rest for a little while.
Ox says he hopes to get Sweetheart Convo back on the schedule in the next couple of years.
You'll soon get to enjoy a new and improved restaurant just minutes from campus. Aunt Bee's on Milligan Highway is getting a complete remodel. Aunt Bee's is a local restaurant that has been around for over 30 years. In January, local investment group Gooder Labs LLC bought the restaurant. Straight Line Construction is working on the remodel. The renovations will consist of an expansion to Aunt Bee's along with an all-new pizza restaurant and a farmer's trading post. The building will be referred to as Milligan Plaza. Aunt Bee's will keep the original name and atmosphere. Owner Ken Talbert says the goal is to reach out to the community.
Milligan's within walking distance, and we just need it here. I think Milligan students have needed something for a while that they could go out to. The pizza place should provide a little more atmosphere for that also. So, and then again on it, we're going for fresh, so it should be great pizza.
Talbert says the renovations for Aunt Bee's are expected to be complete at the end of the month. The pizza place will open a few months later.
Students shared their African heritage through some of their favorite foods. The event, Satisfy the Soul, was hosted to honor Black History Month. Students Sarah Baker and Jalen Glass organized the event. Dishes came from Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and other African countries. Food was prepared to give students a look inside different African cultures. Some of the dishes included different types of rice, breads, salads, and desserts. Baker says this event is meaningful to her.
So I don't come from a distinguished Black background. So even though my culture is mostly white, it's still cool to see my culture and other people's culture all under one roof in one college. So it's really cool.
Event organizers say they hope to plan similar events in the future.
Low-income families are receiving free tax prep from students. This year is the 10th annual VITA program. More than 20 students are certified and trained through the IRS to complete tax returns. The 3-weekend event gives students knowledge and skills. It's also a community service.
I can do my own taxes later on in life, and an experience to put on your resume and to help people out with it, and get a lot of people from the community come in here.
More than 200 tax returns will be completed by the end of the program next weekend. Appointments can be made by calling Milligan's main phone number at 423-461-8700.
Student government is hosting 2 blood drives next week. The drives are planned for Tuesday and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Sign-ups are available in the CAF. SGA is offering free Chick-fil-A and bookstore discounts for donations.
After the break, we'll sit down with Maggie Halloran to talk about her swimming success.
And later, Dalton Smith takes us to a play that's raising money to renovate a historic theater. Stay tuned.
2 national championships in 1 year. It was the first time it had ever happened before.
It was kind of one of those surreal moments, like at the time you don't really realize, the magnitude of what you've done.
When one person has an accomplishment, we all celebrate, because we're in this together. We are StampedeTV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
Cheru has no choice. She and millions like her walk miles a day for dirty water. But together, we can end their walk by providing clean water close by. Instead of spending hours walking to get water that makes them sick, girls can be in a classroom and moms will gain back time to care for their families. Sons and daughters can grow up strong, finally free of sicknesses. It's true. When you just add water, you change a life. Learn more at worldvision.org.
You could see your ad here on Stampede TV. Visit milliganstampede.com/advertise for details.
Today on Have You Heard, I'm sitting here with Maggie talking about her fantastic season as a freshman. Hey Maggie.
Hello.
So what 2 awards did you exactly win?
So at our conference championships, I was voted Freshman of the Year and Athlete of the Meet.
And now when you received those awards, how did that make you feel?
It was such an honor. I went into the meet and was just really focused on performing well for the team, and my team did amazing. We all had so many national cuts and best times, and it just kind of topped the cake that I happened to win those.
Mm-hmm. Were these 2 awards something you were expecting going into the season?
I had been told that it was a possibility that I could win them. My coach had told me a couple weeks before, hey, this is something that could happen if you place well enough. But ultimately, I wasn't really even aware of the fact that I really could until I was there. And I ended up doing well in my events. And I realized I could be known for these things, which would be awesome, especially coming in as a freshman. So.
And how long have you been swimming?
So I started swimming when I was 11. Oh, wow. I've been swimming year-round for about 11 years. So it's been fun, hard, but fun.
Yeah. Was this something that you were hoping to earn in your college career and just weren't expecting as a freshman?
Yeah, I came in. I wasn't necessarily hoping for Athlete of the Meet or Freshman of the Year. I just kind of wanted to come in and do well for Milligan because Kelly recruited me so that I could perform well, and I just really wanted to do my job. My goal really was nationals, but the fact that I had such an awesome conference championships, it's just great. It was just added to this whole season.
Did your whole team end up cheering with you when you earned these awards?
Yeah, man, everybody was so excited for me. It was just so uplifting. And I was just thankful for everyone that was there. They're the people that really helped me get through races like the mile. So it's helpful.
Now, how are you preparing going into nationals?
So right now we're training. There's I think 13 or 14 of us that are going to nationals, and we're all still just putting in the work for the next week. And we start nationals a week from Wednesday. So just training a lot, and then we'll begin to take things a little bit easier starting the end of this week and beginning of next week.
And does winning these awards help give you more confidence going into nationals?
Definitely. Before nationals, I was a small amount worried because this season has been tough. Yes, I've performed well for the team, but individually I haven't performed as well as I would have liked. And going into nationals now with having these faster times under my belt, it's definitely encouraging, and it gives me a lot of confidence a lot more confidence, I should say, going into nationals. So.
And I guess, what are you swimming at nationals? Do you know?
So I actually had a change up of meet events. I'm doing the mile and the 500 still, but my coach and I discussed it, and instead of doing the 400 IM, which is another kind of long event, but it encompasses all of the strokes, I'm just going to do 100 back, which is a sprint, but it'll be fun, and it'll be something that'll kind of give me a little bit more energy going into my 500 and my mile, since I'm swimming pretty long races. So,
do you have any hopes or expectations going into nationals?
The hope is definitely to place well. Right now, I think I'm seated 4th in my 500 and my mile, but again, those aren't with my best times, so hopefully it will be much better. So we'll see.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll go well.
Yes. So.
More news is after the break, and later we'll have the details on the swim team's other accomplishments, including Coach of the Year. Stay tuned.
Familia, amigos, comunidad. Una de cada 5 personas en los Estados Unidos tiene un problema de salud mental. Nuestros amigos y familia pueden estar sufriendo y tal vez no se atrevan a pedir ayuda.
Disculpen.
Aprenda las 5 señales.
¿Está bien?
Después acérquese, hable con esa persona y ofrézcale ayuda. Visite changedirection.org.
Hammocks. They're one of our favorite pastimes. Student leaders promise new mounts behind dorms to make things even easier.
It's going to allow for hopefully 14 hammocks.
But when a year passed with no mounts, we asked why.
The hammock mounts that had not been installed a year after the plan was announced.
Those interview requests were declined. The very next morning, those mounts were installed. We stuck with the story until the very end, because we are in this together. We are StampedeTV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
Survivors of the mass shooting at a high school in Parkland, Florida last week have spent several days at Florida State Capitol.
Their goal is to push state lawmakers to take action to prevent future shootings.
The stories now told.
I was fleeing for my life. I was running for my life from a guy with an assault weapon.
We were running, we were trying to get by the fence, by the creek. People are holding on to each other, some are crying.
And the messages made clear.
I understand what it's like to text my parents, goodbye, I might never ever get to see you again, I love you. I understand what it's like to fear for your life. And I don't think we should ever be discredited because of that.
Inside the Florida Capitol, the call for stronger gun control pouring out of the mouths of more than 100 Stoneman Douglas students.
I'm here to demand change from our government.
Some marching to meetings with lawmakers, holding signs. Others branding messages on their arms. The crowd demanding to hear from lawmakers who have spoken out against stricter enforcement.
I want to see those people. I'm not here for a fight. I'm not here to argue with you. I just want to speak. I just want to see your face and know why.
The survivors warning the legislators that nothing is going to stop them.
We are not afraid of getting reelected or not getting reelected. We have nothing to lose. The only thing we have to gain at this point is our safety.
And leaving lawmakers with a vow.
We are the future. We are the future of America. We're the future voters. So legislators out there, if you guys don't make a change, you're not going to stay in office. And that's a promise.
While we've experienced temperatures in the 80s this week, people in Southern California are bundling up. They've had temperatures in the 30s due to a cold front that's moved in from Canada.
29 at my house this morning.
With temps below freezing, this Claremont walking group bundled up against the chill this morning in hoodies, scarves, and even gloves. Items that some people had already packed away for the season.
I had to bring them back out of the bin where I store them.
Inside the Spot Cafe, hot drinks were served and the thermostat kept at a comfortable 70 degrees.
It's nice and warm in here.
Arlene D'Alessandro's workout class was even moved indoors this morning because it was just too cold.
I'm not used to it being chilly.
We watched temperatures in the San Gabriel Valley drop from the 30s into the upper 20s this morning. At this Palmdale nursery, where temps were nearly in the teens, photos show frost-covered kale. The owners of Holland Ranch say their other sensitive plants were protected with plastic and kept warm with propane heaters. These are the coldest temps so far this season. But don't try to tell that to Jay Pocock, who owns a home in Montana.
It's 5 degrees today, and I'd have pants on and a jacket in Livingston. But here, this is mild weather. and it's going to get up to about 60 today. So that's pretty warm.
For Southern California, though, it's the wintry weather that we've been missing out on, with many people hoping to see more of this snow and rain.
The popular evangelist Billy Graham died Wednesday at the age of 99. Graham preached to crowds all over the world and was influential at the White House for decades.
Reverend Billy Graham has been referred to as America's pastor, as God's ambassador, as the Protestant Pope.
There is no other way. Man cannot be saved by bread alone.
Providing hope to millions during times of tragedy.
We come together to reaffirm our conviction that God cares for us.
And working tirelessly to preach his inclusive brand of evangelical Christianity to hundreds of millions across 185 countries.
Christ belongs to all people.
His influence extending to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, ministering to every president since Harry Truman, forging close relationships with both Republicans.
I believe in the integrity of this man.
Even as we remember Reverend Graham this morning and keep his family in our hearts.
And Democrats.
One of the great honors of my life was visiting Reverend Graham at his mountaintop retreat.
When I was a small boy, about 12 years old, Billy Graham came to Little Rock, Arkansas to preach a crusade.
He served as a model and influence for Christians around the world.
Billy Graham is just an evangelist of all time, really.
He said, I've always been prepared to die. I haven't been prepared to get old. And it was that human quality that was very touching, yeah.
His storied life now at a close, but his legacy sure to be lasting. In Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm Kristen Holmes.
Vanessa Quinones joins us now with sports, and she has more details on the swim team's recent success.
After the break, I'll talk with the team's coach of the year. Sports is next.
A shooting on campus. It's something we hope will never happen. But it seems to be happening more and more often. We asked questions and discovered what you should do if it ever occurs here.
You could have 22 city officers in that vicinity within 10 minutes.
Now guidelines are posted in every building. It's potentially life-saving information because we're in this together. We're Stampede TV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes.
Right?
I mean, like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Head swim coach Kelly Essler has been awarded AAC Coach of the Year. Essler has been Milligan's swim coach for 2 years. When she took over the program, there were about 10 swimmers. Milligan was at the bottom of the conference. After hitting recruiting hard, Essler now has 14 swimmers that qualified for nationals. Her efforts did not go unnoticed. Other coaches in the conference voted her Coach of the Year.
I knew that my swimmer was going to get Swimmer of the Year because we ended up having a tie and the coaches had to vote on that, and she ended up getting that. But no, I had no clue I was going to get Coach of the Year. I'm super happy and excited.
Swim Nationals begin Wednesday in Columbus, Georgia. The track team had their indoor conference meet last weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The men's team placed third overall. The women placed second, missing first by just half a point. There were also several personal bests this weekend. Amy Ferguson had a national qualifying time of 18:05 in the 5K. Assistant coach Jeremy Klontz says things are looking up for the team.
You know, we got a great opportunity outdoor as we met as a staff yesterday, trying to, fill some more events, outdoor conference to give us ourselves a better chance.
Indoor Nationals will begin March 1st in Pittsburgh. And now here are the latest scores from the other games this week. In tennis, the men and women both lost to Point University Sunday, 0-9 and 3-6. The softball team lost a doubleheader to Mars Hill, 4-5 and 2-12 in 5 innings. Monday, the tennis teams took a loss to Reinhardt, 1-8 and 0-9. Tuesday, the baseball team won one game in a doubleheader against Shawnee State, 7-5. They lost the second game 5-7. And that's what's going on in sports.
Thanks, Vanessa. After the break, we'll take you to a play Milligan students are involved in that's raising money to renovate a historic theater. More Stampede is after this.
Graduation. It's one of the biggest moments for each of us. But overcrowding meant that we could no longer have just one ceremony. For some, this meant sharing the event with your entire family. For others, splitting up this community.
I know it's not expected and change is hard, but we had this idea we would all matriculate together and we would all graduate together.
We provided you with a voice on an important issue because we're in this together. We are StampedeTV, Milligan's student-operated news source.
Here's your sandwich, miss.
Oh, thank you.
And your burger.
Awesome, thank you.
And your bowl of boiling water, sir.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
You're watching Kayla Baker and Noah Parker, Vanessa Quinones with sports, and the rest of the Stampede TV team.
A historic theater in downtown Elizabethton is raising money for renovations.
Stampede TV's Dalton Smith takes us to the fundraiser performance that students are involved in.
The Bonnie Kate Theater in downtown Elizabethton is putting on a play called Engaged in order to help pay for renovations to the theater. Several Milligan alumni, along with current Milligan faculty members, are coming together in order to put this play together. Brandon Jones, the lead character in this play, spoke to me about the current situation of the Bonnie Kate Theater and why it is in need of renovations.
This play is in process because the Bonnie Kate is currently in need of lots of renovations. The roof is terribly torn up where it drips a lot of water on the stage and backstage and that kind of thing.
John Jackson, a professor at Milligan, along with being a member of the play, is very excited to have a part that can help restore the theater for the community of Elizabethton.
It's exciting to be part of a project that's for the community, that we're able to do something to help raise awareness for the need to do restoration to the Bonnie Kate, and maybe in a small way financially to contribute to it. So we're very excited to do the play as a part of a community event.
Dr. Jackson says that ever since he and his wife moved to the Milligan area, they have both grown quite fond of Elizabethton and the many things in the city like the Bonnie Kate Theater. Daniel Banks, a graduate of Milligan in 2011, is the director of the play, and he has been really happy to be able to put on this play for the Bonnie Kate Theater, a place that he has been going to since he was a child. Banks also has very high praise for the cast members of the play and how they have all done so far.
It's been really fun to get to work with this group. They have really brought it, and they make the show a lot of fun, really bringing it to life.
I'm a rich man. I'm 32. I'm a bachelor, and I love that.
The Bonnie Kate Theater continues to stand strong for Engaged, as the cast will be performing a couple more showings of the play. This has been Dalton Smith reporting for Stampede TV.
The play Engaged runs Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m.
And that's all for this edition of Stampede TV.
For the latest news information, visit us online at milliganstampede.com.
Or check us out on social media.
More news will be available in our print edition releasing Thursday.
Thanks for watching. I'm Noah Parker.
And I'm Kayla Baker. Join us for our next newscast on March 16th. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy spring break.